Welcome to Creepy, the best horror storyteller on YouTube.
Part 1: The Arrival.
Noah pulled up to the inn, exhausted after a long day on the road. He had been traveling for weeks, and he was eager to finally have a place to rest his head. The inn was small and quaint, but it had a warm and inviting feel to it. Noah stepped out of his car and took a deep breath of the fresh country air. He walked up to the front door and knocked. A moment later, the door opened, and Noah was greeted by a tall, thin man with a pale complexion and slicked back hair. The man was wearing a black suit and a tie, and he had a strange, unsettling smile on his face. "Welcome to the Time Loop Inn," the man said. "I'm Mr. Graves, the innkeeper. How may I help you?" Noah was taken aback by the man's strange greeting, but he tried to shake it off. "I'm looking for a room for the night," he said. "Of course," Mr. Graves said. "Please, come in." Mr. Graves led Noah inside the inn and showed him to his room. It was a small room, but it was clean and comfortable. Noah put his bags down and thanked Mr. Graves. "If you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask," Mr. Graves said. "And please, enjoy your stay." After Mr. Graves left, Noah settled in for the night. He was exhausted, and he quickly fell asleep. But Noah's sleep was disturbed by strange noises and eerie visions. He dreamed of ghosts and demons, and he woke up feeling uneasy. He looked at the clock and saw that it was 3 a.m. He decided to get up and go for a walk to clear his head. Noah stepped outside the inn and into the cool night air. He walked down the road, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He turned around and saw a figure standing in the window of his room. It was Mr. Graves, and he was staring at Noah with a strange, unsettling smile. Noah felt a chill run down his spine. He turned and hurried back to the inn. He locked the door to his room and got back into bed, but he couldn't sleep. He lay awake all night, listening to the strange noises and haunted by the eerie visions. The next morning, Noah woke up feeling exhausted and disoriented. He got out of bed and went to the window. He looked outside and saw that it was the same day as yesterday. He couldn't believe it. He was trapped in a time loop. Noah tried to understand what was happening, but he couldn't make sense of it. He had never experienced anything like it before. He started to panic. He had to find a way to break the time loop and escape the inn. But Noah didn't know where to start. He was trapped in a strange place, surrounded by strange people. He had no idea who he could trust. But he knew one thing for sure. He had to find a way out of the time loop inn before it was too late.
Part 2: The Discovery.
Noah spent the next day trying to find a way to break the time loop. He explored the inn thoroughly, hoping to find some clue. He also talked to the other guests, but they all seemed to be trapped in the loop as well. Noah eventually discovered a hidden room in the basement of the inn. Inside the room, he found a book that contained the history of the inn. The book revealed that the inn was built on a portal to hell, and that Mr. Graves was a demon who was using the portal to summon evil creatures into the world. The book also contained a spell that could be used to destroy the portal. Noah knew that this was his only chance to escape the time loop. He memorized the spell and then went back to his room to prepare. That night, Noah snuck back down to the basement and cast the spell. The room was filled with a bright light, and the portal began to collapse. Mr. Graves appeared and tried to stop Noah, but Noah was too powerful. He finished casting the spell, and the portal was destroyed. With the portal destroyed, the time loop was broken. Noah and the other guests were finally free. They all ran out of the inn and into the fresh air. Noah was relieved to be free, but he knew that the danger was not over. Mr. Graves was still out there, and he would be looking for revenge. Noah vowed to stop Mr. Graves once and for all, and to close the portal to hell forever. But first, Noah needed to find a way to get back to his own time. He knew that the only way to do that was to find a way to travel through time. He had heard rumors of a secret society that possessed the technology to travel through time, and he set out to find them. Noah's journey took him to many different places and times. He met many strange and interesting people along the way. He also faced many dangers, but he never gave up. He was determined to find a way to travel through time and stop Mr. Graves once and for all. One day, Noah finally found the secret society. He was accepted into their ranks, and he learned how to travel through time. Noah immediately returned to the time loop inn, determined to stop Mr. Graves and close the portal to hell. But Mr. Graves was expecting him. He had been preparing for Noah's return, and he had amassed a powerful army of demons and other evil creatures. Noah knew that he was outnumbered and outgunned, but he had to try. He fought bravely, but he was eventually overwhelmed. Just when it seemed that all was lost, Noah's allies from the secret society arrived. They helped Noah defeat Mr. Graves and his army. Noah then used his time travel abilities to close the portal to hell forever. With the portal closed and Mr. Graves defeated, Noah and his allies had saved the world. Noah was hailed as a hero, and he returned to his own time, content in the knowledge that he had made a difference.
Part 3, Horror.
After Noah destroyed the portal to hell and defeated Mr. Graves, he thought he was finally free. But he was wrong. Mr. Graves was not truly defeated. He had been trapped in hell for centuries, but he had never given up hope of escaping. He had used his dark magic to create a new portal to hell, and he was now more powerful than ever before. Mr. Graves knew that Noah was the only one who could stop him, so he set a trap. He lured Noah back to the time loop inn, where he ambushed him and his allies. Mr. Graves' forces were overwhelming, and Noah and his allies were soon defeated. Mr. Graves captured Noah and took him to his lair, which was located deep within the inn. Mr. Graves tortured Noah for days, trying to break his spirit, but Noah refused to give up. He knew that if he did, Mr. Graves would succeed in opening the portal to hell and unleashing an army of demons on the world. One day, Noah managed to escape from Mr. Graves' lair. He ran through the inn, but Mr. Graves was close behind. They chased each other through the labyrinthine hallways until they finally reached the roof of the inn. Mr. Graves cornered Noah on the edge of the roof. He grinned wickedly and said, "It's over, Noah. You can't stop me." Noah looked into Mr. Graves' cold, dead eyes and knew that he was right. He was outnumbered and outmatched, but he refused to give up. Noah took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He concentrated all of his will and power into one final attack. When he opened his eyes, a blinding flash of light erupted from his body. Mr. Graves screamed in pain as the light engulfed him. He tried to fight back, but it was too late. The light was too powerful. Mr. Graves' body disintegrated into ash, and the wind carried his ashes away. The portal to hell closed, and the inn was finally free of his evil presence. Noah collapsed on the roof, exhausted but victorious. He had defeated Mr. Graves and saved the world from his evil plans. But the ordeal had taken its toll on him. He had witnessed horrors that no one should ever have to see. Noah knew that he would never be the same again, but he also knew that he had done the right thing. He had saved the world from a terrible evil, and that was all that mattered. Noah stood up and looked out at the sunrise. He took a deep breath of the fresh air and smiled. He was finally free.
Part 4, Sanity.
Noah had defeated Mr. Graves and saved the world, but he was far from free. He was still trapped in the time loop inn, and he was slowly losing his sanity. Every day, Noah relived the same day over and over again. He watched the same people do the same things, and he heard the same conversations over and over again. It was like a living nightmare. Noah began to isolate himself from the other guests. He spent his days alone in his room, staring at the walls. He couldn't sleep, and he couldn't eat. He was wasting away. One day, Noah woke up and realized that he couldn't remember who he was. He had forgotten his own name and his own life. He was completely lost. Noah started to hallucinate. He saw Mr. Graves everywhere he went. Mr. Graves would taunt him and whisper evil things in his ear. Noah was driven mad with fear. Noah knew that he couldn't stay at the inn any longer. He had to find a way to escape, or he would lose his mind completely. One night, Noah snuck out of his room and made his way to the basement. He found the hidden room where he had destroyed the portal to hell. He searched the room for anything that could help him escape, but he found nothing. Just when Noah was about to give up, he noticed a strange book on the floor. He picked it up and opened it. The book was filled with ancient symbols and runes. Noah didn't understand what he was reading, but he knew that it was important. Noah took the book back to his room and began to study it. He spent days and nights deciphering the symbols and runes. Finally, he figured it out. The book was a spell book, and it contained a spell that could transport him to another world. Noah knew that this was his only chance to escape the time loop in. He cast the spell, and a portal opened up in the middle of his room. Noah stepped through the portal, and he was gone. Noah found himself in a strange and alien world. He didn't know where he was, but he knew that he was finally free from the time loop in. Noah wandered through the alien world for days, trying to find his way back to his own world. He faced many dangers along the way, but he never gave up. One day, Noah came across a group of people who were trying to build a portal to another world. Noah told them his story, and they agreed to help him return to his own world. Noah and the others worked together to build the portal. When it was finally finished, Noah stepped through the portal and returned to his own world. Noah was finally free. He had escaped the time loop in and saved his sanity. He had also learned a valuable lesson: never take your freedom for granted.
Part 5, Revelation.
Noah returned to his own world a changed man. He had seen and experienced things that no one should ever have to see. But he also had a newfound appreciation for life and freedom. Noah decided to use his experience to help others. He wrote a book about his time in the time loop in, and he gave lectures and interviews about his ordeal. He wanted to warn people about the dangers of time travel and the importance of cherishing their freedom. One day, Noah was approached by a group of scientists who were working on a new type of time travel technology. The scientists had heard about Noah's experiences, and they wanted his help to ensure that their technology was not misused. Noah agreed to help the scientists. He worked with them to develop safety protocols and ethical guidelines for time travel. He also helped them to develop a way to detect and stop time loops. Thanks to Noah's help, the scientists were able to develop a safe and ethical way to travel through time. Noah was proud to have played a role in this important breakthrough. But Noah knew that the danger was not over. Mr. Graves was still out there somewhere, and he would be looking for revenge. Noah vowed to be ready for him. Noah continued to study time travel and the occult. He learned everything he could about Mr. Graves and his powers. He also trained himself in combat and self-defense. Noah knew that Mr. Graves would eventually return, and he was determined to be ready for him. He would not let Mr. Graves destroy the world, not on his watch. One day, Noah received a message from the scientists. They had detected a time loop in the near future. Noah knew that this was his chance to finally defeat Mr. Graves. Noah traveled to the time loop and located Mr. Graves. He confronted Mr. Graves and challenged him to a duel. Mr. Graves accepted, and the two of them fought a fierce battle. Noah used all of his skills and training to fight Mr. Graves. He knew that if he lost, Mr. Graves would succeed in destroying the world. In the end, Noah emerged victorious. He defeated Mr. Graves and destroyed him once and for all. With Mr. Graves defeated, the time loop was broken. Noah returned to his own time, knowing that he had saved the world from a terrible evil. Noah was hailed as a hero, but he remained humble. He knew that he had not done this alone. He had the help of the scientists, his allies from the secret society, and his own inner strength. Noah continued to work to protect the world from the dangers of time travel and the occult. He knew that there would always be those who would seek to misuse time travel for their own selfish purposes. But Noah was determined to stop them. Noah had come a long way since his days in the time loop in. He had learned to appreciate life and freedom, and he had become a powerful force for good in the world. He was a true hero, and his story would be told for generations to come.
Part 6, Epilogue.
Noah sat on a bench in the park, watching the children play. He smiled as he thought about how far he had come. It had been years since he had defeated Mr. Graves and saved the world. Noah had continued to work to protect the world from the dangers of time travel and the occult. He had also helped to develop new time travel technologies that were used for good. Noah was proud of what he had accomplished, but he knew that his work was not done. There would always be those who would seek to misuse time travel for their own selfish purposes. But Noah was determined to stop them. Noah stood up and stretched. He took a deep breath of the fresh air and smiled. He was ready for whatever the future held.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more similar horror stories.